Oh man, so beleaguered crypto lender Celsius just had its first day hearing and they've announced plans that their mining focused operations is somehow going to fill their $2 billion hole and allow them to pay back customers. We're going to dissect these court documents. We're going to look into this Hail Mary plan to actually understand, is there a chance that you, as a retail investor, are likely to get your money back? Guys, smash up the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. As always, if you want to buy any crypto, you can check out the links in the description. Now, as you can see here, CoinDesk are reporting that Celsius lays out mining-focused reorganization plan at first bankruptcy hearing. First day hearing revealed Celsius is betting big on its also indebted mining operation to help fill the 1.2 billion hole in the company balance sheet. Now, there's various things that are disclosed. It's a 60-page document. We're going to flick through some of the key highlights, but we need to remember, and I'm going to give you the highlights, that they're blaming a bunch of different things, right? They're blaming the write down in crypto prices, which I'm going to give you my viewpoint on. They're saying that crypto just fell too much. They're blaming the Terra Luna saga. They're blaming the fact that Stakehound lost 15 million of their crypto. They're blaming that a company, Equities First, owns them $439 million. These are all the things that they're weighing up. But the reality is what went down and what happened. So we can take a look at this 60-page document. I'm going to flick through some of the pertinent pieces to find out what is their claim. What are they saying they want to blame this on? We won't go through the whole document, don't worry. We'll flick through some of the highlights. So it says here, Celsius is one of the largest and most sophisticated cryptocurrency-based finance platforms. Okay, straight away, I would say no chance. Sophisticated cryptocurrency-based finance platform. They're trying to make out that there's some super advanced platform when there's very little evidence to suggest that, right? They're not. They're very basic operation. And in fact, we're going to find out that particularly their risk management department was awfully negligent and just not up to scratch, let alone sophisticated. At the time of Celsius's founding, crypto suffered from a illiquidity problem. While crypto had and continues to have real tangible market value, many businesses and financial institutions did not initially accept crypto as an medium of exchange. Fine. So they're giving their whole story. Thus, Celsius was created with a basic model whereby users could transfer their assets to Celsius and benefit from the opportunity to borrow fiat or other digital platforms. The terms of the service, the rewards offered by Celsius, yes, we're familiar with that. Celsius platform was launched in 2018. Yes, we're familiar with that. Over 50 million crypto being transferred. We are familiar. Let's keep going. What I wanted to show you was this section here. Here we go. Now, what you can see here is this is their current balance sheet snapshot as of July the 13th, 2022. Now, what you'll notice is their total liabilities stack up to 5.5 billion. Okay, so they owe 5.5 billion. If you add up all of their assets, which include the Cell token, which is driving itself to zero, which includes their mining assets, it includes the cash at the bank that they've got, which, by the way, they need to pay wages with that. They're sitting there at a deficit of almost $1.2 billion here. Now, that is being conservative, right? That the deficit is 1.2 billion. Like I said, they've still got overheads, they've got their mining operations, they've got their staff they need to pay, and the Cell token is falling in value, right? So the question now is, how did they get to this situation? And if we come back over to this Coinbase article, they give you an interesting kind of bridge. And what we can look at here is, let's take a look at this bridge. If that header moves out the way. There we go. So as you can see here, March 30th at the bottom here, at March 30th, they were sitting there with 22 billion in assets and they had liabilities of 22 billion. So at this point in March, just a few months ago in March, they were sitting there at liabilities equals assets and they can match, right? They're okay, they're balanced, their balance sheet is matched. But you'd argue here that surely you would want more comfort there. Why were you operating at a level where your assets equal your liabilities? You'd want to be over-collateralized to prevent from a crash. You are in crypto. You claim in your document you've been around crypto for a very long time. You understand how the market dynamics work. In fact, you were teaching the court in that 60-page document how the market works. So why is it you were not stress test to an 85, even 90% retracement level to be safe? You've seen previous bear markets and you've fallen 82%, 83%, 85%. These things happen. Therefore, why was your balance sheet not stressed to that level? I mean, when you're talking about a 1.2 million hole, how are you blaming Terra Luna where arguably you lost 15 million? When 1.2 billion hole, you lost 15 billion in Terra Luna. You lost 50 million arguably in Stakehound, right? So in essence, what's happened here is a whole bunch of degen plays which have gone wrong, and that's the reality. So when people had its run on the bank, which by the way you're supposed to simulate as well, if you go to traditional finance, which apparently you're supposed to be better than traditional finance, which is why you're building this in Web3 to make DeFi better, right, Celsius? Then you would stress test better than traditional finance, but traditional finance will stress test for a run on the bank. Right? If there is a run on JP Morgan, if there is a run on Morgan Stanley, they've practiced for that, haven't they? They do a stress test. Where's your stress test? Because you claiming that after the Terra Luna saga, where you only lost 15 million, it was the run on Celsius which then caused this for you to have this hold. Is that really accurate? So you can see here how now they then bridged across to now, which is July the 14th, 2022. And you can see now that they're sitting in this precarious position where their liabilities are greater than their assets. But here's where it gets funny, right? Because you're sitting there and you're like, okay, it's okay. They figured this out, right? Alex Mahinsky, he must be a smart man, right? They're figuring out. They've gone quiet for many, many months. We then get the update that they've gone into Chapter 11 bankruptcy. If you want to catch up on what's going on here, if you're new to all of this, I'll link up a couple of videos which we've made because we've been walking through this step by step. And so they went into Chapter 11 bankruptcy, right? And this is to give them some chance. It's to tell the creditors to back away. Celsius can figure this out. And Celsius actually posted a video, which I shared within my video, which said, oh no, many great companies have gone into Chapter 11 bankruptcy and they've come out much stronger, which is true. But where is your sound operations? And this is their Hail Mary. So Alex Mahinsky believes his weak mining operations, which by the way is indebted at the moment, he thinks he can build that up to a point now where he thinks he can fill the 1.2 billion hole through just his mining operations. But here's the catch. Currently, at the current pace that they're operating at, Celsius are mining 14.2 bitcoins a day. Okay, 14.2 bitcoins a day. Now that equates to about $284,000 a day in Bitcoin they're mining. That is gross. That is before they've paid their labor costs. That is before they've paid for their rigging. They are bringing in 284K in mining operations. Now, at that rate, assuming they have no cost, just using that gross number, it's going to take them 20 years to get to 2 billion, which is the whole pretty much in their balance sheet. Okay, 20 years at this current operation, assuming no cost and believing they're right that they'll go and deliver 14.2 billion. But we know that's not realistic, right? And then his attorney then came out and said, no, actually, we think in 2022, we will finish the year on 10,100 Bitcoins mined. Now, if that's right, then that means that's 202 million they would have brought in through Bitcoin mining this year. Again, gross, without cost taken out. So when you take out the costs, can you imagine what's left, right? Because we know mining companies aren't making 1.2 billion a year in profit. They're not, right? Even some of the biggest miners, let alone Celsius's little mining operation, which wasn't even their focus. So they're trying to say to the court, just to give them some breathing room, right? Because in essence, what the court will do is they'll put a pause on all their spending. So Celsius needs to come out and say, no, we need to keep paying our CFO, we need to keep paying our marketing lady, we need to keep paying our HR, because we want to keep running this company, right? So keep the creditors off us. We want to keep spending money because we're really going to build this mining operation. And if you just give us a chance, we're going to do it, right? We're going to make a really successful mining operation. But at this rate, even at this rate, they'd have to do that for 10 years, guys, on gross income to fill the 2 billion hole. So in essence, they're trying to spoof the courts to say, God, let me spend some money. It's all right. We'll keep spending. But what's the responsible thing to do at this point? You've got to just admit you're insolvent. At what point do you just say, no, you run this company in a neglectful, poor way with a lack of risk management? You've allowed your company to run without enough collateralization. You were making too many risky plays in the likes of Stakeout, in Stake Teeth, in various other things like Terra Luna, which you can argue you can get away with that one because it was a top 10 project, right? Fine. Okay. But why were they playing around with Anchor Protocol? Why were they doing all these things? These are the questions we have to ask. And therefore we should say, no, as a leader, you've proven to be neglectful over customers' deposits. You've got 500,000 depositors who you owe money to, 300,000 plus of which have at least $100 in crypto. But here's the thing, right? Even with all of this, even if the court says, no more spending for you, just pay back the money back to the people, ultimately retail customers will suffer, right? Customers will suffer because guess what? Just like we saw with the Terra Luna situation, who gets paid back first? The big creditors, their friends, right? Who do they owe? They owe Alameda. They'll probably owe a few others, right? We know they lent 75 million to 3 Arrows Capital. Why would you do that, right? We saw Voyager made crazy loans to 3 Hours Capital, so they've lost 75 million there as well. So that's the reality. I mean, if we look at this quote here, Celsius has set the stage for conflict between its customers and its sophisticated institutional investors. And that is the difference, right? Who will Alex Mahinsky want to keep on site? Institutional investors or somebody he doesn't know? You with your life savings of 10 grand in crypto. He can care less about you. Because when he wants to build his next company afterwards, which as we saw with Do Kwon, these guys don't stop, they keep doing it. He's going to want his institutional friends on board, isn't he? So he can do the same thing over and over again. So I want you guys to take this on board, and I think it's really important that we as a crypto community really look at this with a plain eye and say, this is the reality of what's going on. Let's not be fooled by their fancy soothsaying speeches and how they say, no, we protect customers, we want to be different from the banks, right? And the whole kind of verbiage we hear from these guys. And also, watch which crypto YouTubers you're watching right now, because trust me, there were a lot of people that were backing Celsius, that were talking about Celsius, that could only say good about Alex Mahinsky and his team because he would come and grant them interviews. They should come out and they should say the reality of what the situation is and the reality of how poor a ship he was steering and continues to steer, right? If he was doing the right thing, he would go into bankruptcy, he would give everybody the amount of cash they deserve, right? Because let's face it, you're not building this business back out of insolvency, and you trying to say now you're going to become a mining company? Come on. Come on. Who are you fooling, right? And even if you were successful on those numbers which I've just shown, it's going to take you many years of great operational excellence of delivering a great mining company, which is not the company you run. You ran a lending platform, i.e. Ponzi type lending platform where you were running it really negligently, and now you're going to say you're going to suddenly turn into a big, huge mining operation to compete with the likes of Raya, Mara, and suddenly start delivering billions in profit. Yeah, come on. Guys, hope you enjoyed this update on Celsius. If you appreciate it, don't forget to smash up the like button and subscribe. If you want to buy any crypto, you can do so using the links in the description. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I'll see you in the next one.